You are about to discover how a 34-year-old former marketing manager in Portland built what I'm going to call the invisible B2B prompt agency model and made $47,000 in her first 6 months by selling something her clients didn't even know that they were buying. She never once mentioned artificial intelligence or ChatGPT or AI. She never used the word prompt. She didn't even describe herself as an AI consultant. What she did was reframe an entire invisible service into something enterprises were already desperate to pay for. And she's not alone. Right now, there are 200 people doing this same thing. And most of them are invisible to you because they don't operate in the AI space that you think they do. The gap between your current reality and where you want to be isn't closing because you're selling the wrong thing to the wrong people using the wrong language. Most people are trying to monetize AI by competing in the bloodbath with the freelancers on Fiverr and undercutting each other at $50 per project. And let's be honest, the using price as a mechanism is a race to the bottom. Many of them are out there building GPT wrappers. We talked about in the last episode. They're creating quote unquote AI tools and they're stuck in 2024 thinking. But the real money, the kind that comes with retainers, not as one-off projects, this real money exists in a completely different market. It exists where enterprises have problems that are so persistent and so expensive and so visible on their balance sheets that they're willing to pay 5 figures a month without flinching. Yeah. I have your attention now. Yeah. See, here's what most people don't understand. Enterprises don't buy AI. They never have. They buy outcomes. Specifically, they buy time, accuracy, and consistency. They buy the ability to scale human work without hiring more humans. A Fortune 500 company doesn't care if you're using ChatGPT 4 or 5 or whatever from OpenAI, Claude from Anthropic, or a Rube Goldberg machine powered by sentient hamsters. They don't care. They care about one thing. Does it solve our bleeding problem? And does it integrate with what we already have? Now, this is where the invisible model lives. You're selling enterprise workflow automation. You're selling operational efficiency. And you're selling, quote unquote, custom API integrations that connect using existing tools that are already out there. Think things like Zapier, Make.com, or direct API calls into their Salesforce or HubSpot CRM in ways that saves their teams 15, 20, sometimes 30 hours per week. The fact that the engine running underneath is a carefully architected prompt workflow is completely irrelevant to them. They don't care. It's invisible. It's infrastructure. And they will pay you handsomely for it because they've already tried just about everything else. Now, let me be specific here on how this works, because specificity is where most side hustlers stumble, bumble, and fall and faceplant. Your client is going to be a mid-market SaaS company. They'll have, 80 employees. Their customer support team works about 60 hours per week, writing personalized email responses, right? Not copying and pasting templates, actually writing the responses. This is because their product is complex. Their customers are sophisticated, and a template-based response is going to tank their net promoter score. The team is burning out. The manager has requested a new hire, and it's been denied twice. The budget exists, not for hiring, but for tools and operational improvement. And this is where you step in. This is where you enter from stage left. You don't call yourself an AI prompt engineer. You don't say you're going to leverage GPT to automate email responses. You say something like this: I specialize in custom workflow automation. I'll build a system that ingests your customer support tickets, uses retrieval augmented generation to understand the context of your product from your internal documentation, and generates first draft responses that your team can then review and send in 30 seconds instead of 10 minutes. You'll cut response time by 80%. You'll reduce cognitive load on your team, and this will measurably improve your CSAT scores. You see what happened there? Did you hear that? Go ahead and hit that rewind button there about 30 seconds or so and re-listen to that, because you need to see what happens. You just described a prompt workflow without ever mentioning prompts. You spoke all in outcome language. You tied it to metrics they actually track and give a damn about. You made it visible and material. And notice, Net Promoter Score and CSAT. They aren't just buzzwords. They're the exact KPIs that SaaS operators are actually tracking in their RevOps dashboards. When you speak their language before they have to teach it to you, that is a sale just about half closed. The second layer of this model is that you're not selling projects. You're selling retainers. This is the invisible part that makes the entire model profitable. After you build the initial workflow, you don't just poof disappear. Your role becomes workflow optimization specialist or automation consultant. Titles that sound institutional, not like a freelancer. You charge, I don't know, $2,500 to $5,000 per month to continuously improve their workflows. You monitor performance. You fine-tune the system based on new types of tickets that tend to emerge over time. You handle version updates when the underlying AI models change. You add new automations as their business evolves, as their product evolves. The monthly recurring revenue, your MRR, is what separates this model from every other AI side hustle that's out there. For the enterprise, this is a steal. They're getting what amounts to a part-time specialist without salary, without benefits, and without overhead. One client on a $3,000 monthly retainer is $36,000 per year of monthly recurring revenue. 3 clients is 6 figures. 5 clients, and you're in the $200K range. This is why a 34-year-old in Portland stopped looking for clients after 6 months. She had landed 2 enterprise retainers and was very selective about her capacity. But here's the catch, and this is where the floor is going to drop out. The enterprises that you're targeting, they're not going to find you on Twitter. They're not going to see your YouTube video ads about AI side hustles. They find you because you appear institutional. They find you because you've strategically positioned yourself in the spaces where their decision makers already exist. This means LinkedIn presence, but not the entrepreneur, he says with air quotes. It means belonging to industry associations. It means being quoted in industry publications. It means having a website that looks like a boutique consulting firm, not a freelancer's portfolio. And increasingly, it means being able to check boxes that enterprise procurement teams require. Things like SOT 2 compliance, documented data handling practices, and an enterprise-grade security standards. Right? The last point is often the deciding factor when the company's legal team steps in to get involved. And when you're not prepared for that conversation, well, that deal is going to die right there on the vine. This requires front-loading work that doesn't immediately pay. You need to build credibility first so that you can monetize it. Most side hustlers, they're going to skip this step because they want the money now. And I get that. They're going to go out there and they're going to build a Fiverr profile and they're going to start building. They're going to go on Upwork and start building. But the invisible model requires you to be patient, to be strategic, because you're building a consulting brand. You're not a freelance gig account. The genuinely shareable mechanism here, I think, is this. Enterprises have a workflow optimization bucket that sits separately from the hiring bucket on the spreadsheets. And they also have a software purchasing bucket. This bucket is almost always underspent because it's hard to know what to spend on it. They don't have all their projects predefined. Most of them don't. But once you show them what's possible, once you demonstrate that you can quantifiably reduce hours on a specific repetitive process, they'll spend this budget probably aggressively. And at this point, you're not competing with all the other AI consultants out there. You're competing with the alternative of hiring another employee. And hiring almost means losses because of the time to productivity ratio, the cost benefits, and the long-term salary commitment that comes with it. Now, the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to talk about is this. The enterprises that are easiest to sell right now are the ones who already have significant AI skepticism internally. Now, hear me out on this. They're the companies where the marketing is hyping AI, but the operations team doesn't quite trust it yet. There's a tension there. There's resistance. They need proof that it works within their specific context before they're going to go all in. This, my friend, is your entry point. You come in as a translator, the person who understands both the potential and the legitimate concerns. You deliver a small scoped workflow automation as proof of concept. It works, and then it hits metrics. Suddenly, the operation team becomes your best advocate because you've solved the problem without making them feel like they're being replaced by a machine. And then, here's where the moral compass can get a little tricky. You're building systems that will eventually eliminate some of those jobs. Not immediately, not obviously, but over time, as the workflows improve and you add more automations and more integrations, the need for certain roles will diminish. You might be facilitating the very displacement that triggered your client's resistance in the first place. You're not being deceptive about it. The outcome is real and it's valuable for the company, but you're aware of something your client might not fully want to come to grips with, might not fully reckon with. You're building the infrastructure for efficiency that will eventually mean fewer people need to do the work. The enterprise realizes this as we'll redeploy the team onto higher value work. Sometimes they do, let's be honest, which is awesome. Sometimes they just reduce the headcount and let the efficiency drop straight to their bottom line. This doesn't change your business model. It doesn't make the value you're providing any less real to the company. But it does mean you're building something that has consequences you can't fully control once it's deployed. And this is the invisible part that no one talks about when they're promoting AI side hustles. You're not just automating work. You're participating in workforce transformation. The fact that you're framing it as workflow optimization doesn't change that reality. It just makes it invisible to yourself and to your clients. Okay. So where does this leave you? If you're motivated by income, if you want to build something that pays well and scales predictably, this model works. If you're motivated by impact means I help humans, then you need to be honest about what impact means in this context. It might mean helping a company operate more efficiently, which has real value. It might also mean that that person who is spending 60 hours per week on email responses gets let go 6 months from now. Both things can be true simultaneously. The model is invisible because nobody talks about this part. The marketing emphasizes the upside for the enterprise. The side hustle narrative emphasizes the upside for you. But there's a human cost distributed across people whose jobs are being made more efficient. You can build this business. You absolutely can. The economics work. The market is real. The enterprises are out there waiting for someone just like you. Just don't pretend it's going to be cost less. Okay. The invisible business isn't invisible because of the technology. It's invisible because many of us just choose not to see it. And if you're ready to break free from the freelancer trap and build a real consulting business that works around your family schedule, go ahead and jump over on the AI Escape Plan newsletter. It can be your roadmap. It's designed specifically for my burgeoning entrepreneurs, my parent entrepreneurs who are ready to break free from the 9-to-5 grind. Each issue delivers practical AI-powered strategies to start, grow, and streamline your side hustle, all designed to protect your family time while still boosting your income. You can call it your roadmap to more money, more freedom, and more of what truly matters. Speaking of matters, why does this matter, Tracy? Why are you even spending time on this episode? Well, we're living through the biggest transformation of how work gets done. I've mentioned this quite a few times since the Industrial Revolution, or maybe since the internet even became available to us. But most people are approaching it like consumers of AI tools rather than the architects of AI solutions. The invisible B2B model represents a fundamental shift from selling technology to selling transformation. What bigger paradigm could this be a part of? I think in many ways, this is about the rebalancing of enterprise level capabilities. For the first time in history, a parent like you or any entrepreneur working from their kitchen table can deliver solutions that previously required teams of specialists with millions of dollars of infrastructure behind them. The companies that win in the next few years to decade won't be the ones with the best AI. They're going to be the ones who can bridge the gap between AI capability and business needs the most effectively. The future belongs to those who can make powerful technology invisible by focusing relentlessly on the problem that it solves. So, all that said, here's your whiskered wisdom for this week. The most profitable businesses are built on problems so obvious that everyone sees them, but solutions that are so elegant that they almost seem invisible. So here's your specific action for this week. Identify one business process that you encounter pretty regularly, whether it's in your current job, a company you know about, or even around household management, something that takes more than 5 hours per week and involves a repetitive decision-making process, a repetitive task. Don't try to think about an AI solution yet. Just document the process step by step. Time how long each step takes. Note where the delays tend to happen. Note where the errors tend to happen. That documentation is going to become your first process audit. And it's exactly what enterprises out there will pay you thousands of dollars to create within their business. Look, the 34-year-old from Portland didn't set out to build an invisible business. She just focused on solving real problems for real companies using the best tools that she could find. The fact that those tools happened to be AI was really irrelevant to her clients, and that's exactly why they paid her some premium rates. While everyone else is fighting over scraps in the AI consultant space, You could be building something that enterprises truly want, results that they can measure, problems that they can solve, and efficiency that they can bank. The invisible advantage is real. The market, I think it's wide open, and your family's freedom is waiting just on the other side of you taking action. Think successfully and take action.